Good morning, welcome, Morning Mean. So here's what's on my mind this morning. It's story time. So I'm driving to school, taking my daughter to school because, of course, it's back to school time. And much to her chagrin, as much as she does really well in school, and generally she enjoys it, but at the same time, it's that push pull of I don't really want to be here. I think we can all pretty much relate to that experience. Anyway, so we're on our way to school, and I said to her, "Hey, what do you think of the word manifestation?" She's like, "It's all right, I guess." Not quite what I was going for. So I said, follow-up question, well, how would you define manifestation or to manifest? She thinks about it for a minute. She's like, to bring something into being. Stress intended, I guess. I said, okay. So do you think that's possible? Now, side note, I don't generally like to ask yes or no questions, but that's just the way this one popped out of my mouth. Okay. So she goes, well, yeah, I guess. Yeah, I think so. Maybe. So she was sore hedging. She's like, she doesn't want to commit. I'm like, huh. I said, well, what made me think of it this morning, because I can give you an example right now. I picked up my cozy thing that I have around my tea canister. I said, well, do you remember when I got this? And she's like, no. I said, well, it was a couple of years ago when we were all in Minneapolis at the school, and we went into the bookstore, and I had said to myself, I wasn't saying this to anybody else, I was like, I need to find one of those cozies, but it needs to be a tall one. It can't be one of the short ones. And I didn't even know a tall one like this existed. I thought they were all short, like for a soda can, right? So I didn't even know that existed. But then we walked into the bookstore, and the first thing I found was this. It was like I just put it out there. I said, hey, universe, yes, I need a tea cozy thing, something to cushion my canister. Please find it for me. And the universe went, boom, there it is. I'm like, well, shit, look at that. And this sort of thing interests me. It really does. So I said this to her. I explained it to her. I said, I think everything is based on energy. And I've thought that forever, for as long as I can remember. That's what I've thought. Things are based on energy. Everything's made up of energy. I don't know much about physics or quantum physics or anything like that. I just believed that. I didn't have a way to explain it back then. It's just something I believe. Believed then, believe now. And so I'm explaining this to her, and she's heard me explain that part before. So I can give you another example. So I said, do you remember that time that we were going into the restore store in Omaha, and I was looking for a coat rack? And she said, yeah. I said, well, what happened? She said, you found one. I said, exactly. But what happened? I walked in, and I was saying to you and to your dad, I need to find, and I wasn't talking loudly. I mean, we're in a store. I was like, I need to find a coat rack, and I was looking for a specific one. I wanted it to be wood. I just had this image in my mind. And one of the people that was working there overheard this and said, oh, how about this one? And walked me over to one, and it was perfect. And I bought it. It was the exact thing that was in my head. And I bought it right there on the spot. I was like, yep, that's it. I want that. So these are just examples, right? And I'm sure you have examples. These are just examples of putting something out there, either an intention or just whatever, and saying, okay, that's what I'm looking for. It's that whole idea of where energy flows, attention goes. Where attention goes, energy flows, right? And that can be good, that can be bad, that can be negative, that can be positive. And so this is why it's so important that we pay attention to our thoughts and what we're saying and how we're saying it, which is what I was explaining to my daughter again this morning. So just, be careful. So then I drop her off, and she's getting ready to get in the car, and we're doing our usual goodbye stuff. And she made a comment that was rather negative, and it was about how the school, they don't care about us anyway at the school, something to that effect. And I said to her, so wait a minute. Do you really believe that? And she said, no. I said, then don't say it. If you don't really believe it, don't say it. Now, keep in mind, this was right after we were having the conversation about thoughts and guiding thoughts and positive and negative, really important, and how it can, you throw that out there in the universe is going to respond to you, right? Eventually. Might not happen right away, but the universe is going to respond to you. And she said, no, I don't believe that. I said, be careful what you say. Be very careful what you say. Out loud, in your head, be careful. So that was this morning. And we all need those reminders, right? To be considerate, thoughtful about what we say to ourselves when the default network is just active and going, and when we're talking and interacting with other people. because all those words actually have an impact. Whether they're spoken out loud or they're just in our heads, they affect us for good or for bad. They affect us. And so we need to be able to control that. Now, in CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, it would be more like we'll control your thoughts. But in um, reframing it comes from more of acceptance therapy. So reframing the thoughts so that they aren't negatively skewed is important to do, because again, where energy goes, attention goes. Where attention goes, energy flows. That all is true. And for me, when I'm talking about manifesting or manifestation, it's about that. It's about those intentions that I put out into the universe. And then my brain is going, okay, we're on alert. Let's start looking for that. If I want my brain to look for the negative, that's pretty freaking easy to do. You got a negativity bias. But if I want my brain to be looking for the positives and the things that, or the situations, the opportunities that I want and that I say that I want, that needs to be my intention. Before my feet hit the floor in the morning, today's going to be a great day. I've said that before, right? It's all about the intention and then reframing things when we need to reframe them. And just because we don't always get what we want when we thought we wanted it, doesn't mean we're not going to get it. That's not necessarily what that means. Sometimes it means that we actually didn't really want it and we didn't want to admit to ourselves that we didn't want it, but we knew, and so it didn't happen. I think that's the majority of it, personally, when that happens. Sometimes it's just not the right time, because things happen when they're meant to happen for you, for me. That's what I believe. You don't have to believe that, but I believe that. And so that's something that guides me in my day to day. And my children know this. We've had these conversations. And I invite you to do the same thing. These are important conversations to have, in my view. And it would help other people get along with other people if we were operating more out of that mindset, that abundance mindset, than just survival and fear mindset. Just a thought. Anyway, have a great day. See ya.